Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Liquid Lunch Project. I am Matthew R. Meehan alongside my partner, the Professor Luigi Rosabianca. What's on tap today, Lou?
Oh, Matt, thank you so much. I feel like I'm unwrapping my early Christmas gift. We've got a person today, Josh Hoecherl, who's going to talk about operational excellence. Matt, right up your alley. You love operational stuff, right? So Josh Hoecherl, he runs Pinpoint Management, and their tagline is exactly operational excellence unlocks a business's true potential. So Josh, thank you for joining us on the podcast. And without further ado, let's just do a deep dive. Can you explain to us how a business owner can identify the inefficiencies in their business that would lead them to call Josh at Pinpoint?
Absolutely. First, thanks for having me. The biggest thing I tell business owners when they're like, how do I do this? I say, just stop, like, just slow down, right? We as business owners go so fast. It's like, give me the next thing, give me the next thing, give me the next thing, give me the next thing.
Guilty.
And right, I find myself doing it. And the second you slow down and see how things are actually progressing, how things are actually moving, it's actually not that hard to find the operational efficiencies. We're just so deep into it, especially people who have been like it from the beginning. Someone who's built a business from the ground up, and let's say they're at $1 million in revenue or $1.5 million in revenue. The reason they've got there is because they built all these systems around themselves, and they're the middle of the machine, right? So the second they have a bad day, or the second they slow up, or the second there's too much on them, they start to feel operational inefficiencies. And it's like really easy to say, well, it's because so-and-so didn't do their job, or I didn't get enough sales, or I didn't do this. And it's hard for them to take a look at themselves. So the first thing I always do with someone is say, let's grab a mirror. Let's look at what's really happening, and identifying where your weak spots doesn't make you a bad person. It just means we got to make some changes.
Does that conversation occur with the founder or CEO or owner, or does it occur institution-wide with like upper management within a firm?
So for me, I always start with the founder and owner, because I found that big buzzword right now, culture, DNA within that business, it always starts at the top. No matter how much I want to identify that culture comes from bottom up, it never actually does, right? Like, how many times do we as owners walk in and having a bad day because we've got a cold, or a kid kept us up all night, or we've got a teenager that alone keeps us up at night, right? We walk in and we start to behave the way that we're going to behave, and it affects every aspect of the business. So I always start at the top, but I try to get to the core of the core of it as quickly as we can.
Now, when you're doing an onboarding call or you're getting to meet the founder at a certain point, does that trickle down to upper management and then middle management?
Always.
Okay.
I believe that the number one job for a CEO, a founder, an owner is to give his team, whether that's the 4 people in his C-suite, the 10 people that work directly for him, which, let me just tell you, if you have 10 people reporting directly to you, you're guaranteed operational inefficiencies. But whoever it is, his job, their job, her job, whoever it is, their job is to make that team to give them a pathway and a vision to be the best version of themselves. So we shift as quickly as we can from improving a founder, improving a CEO, to giving them the skills and tools to improve whoever they work with within their business. Sometimes that even means vendors, right? Sometimes that means clients, whatever it can mean.
Can you help us shift that responsibility to the team member? And let me clarify. Matt and I, in our day job, we run an outfit called Shield Advisory Group. And we do small business advisory, just like you, with probably one less zero. We're dealing with, the trades and mom and pops and, the backbone of American business.
Yeah. Love trades. Yeah. Love builders.
We have this acronym in the office, FITFO, right? If you have a task and you can't figure it out, we just say, figure it the fuck out. Not because we're condescending or not because we're, tongue in cheek, but it's because we have faith in you, we trust you, and you're competent. You're not 14 years old. You can figure it out, okay? Don't come to me with the toilet being clogged, right? Here's a plunger, okay? But how do you shift that responsibility when you have a business owner that is so accustomed to, I got this, I'm type A, I can figure everything, I am Superman?
Yeah, the power of a business owner is not being a Superman. The power of a business owner is being able to say, FitFo, right? Like saying to their employees, how do I empower them to be the best version of themselves, right? How do I get them to solve their own problems? I mean, I work with a lot of tradespeople, right? We work with a lot of builders out here where we are. And I hear all the time, I can't have them do this finish work on this mantelpiece because I'm the only one that can do it the way that I want to do it. Well, why? Like, are
But
you
that's a
the only one who
self-fulfilling
wants to?
prophecy, right? You
That's exactly right.
destined that mason for failure.
That's exactly right. And that's what I see over and over and over again. It's like, man, give them an opportunity, teach them what you need to do, mentor them. I mean, think about the best CEOs and business owners that we look at, even the ones that are abrasive and aggressive. They're people who see value in other people, teach them how to do not even what they do, but teach them how to do or unlock their ability to be the best versions of themselves. And that's how business accelerates. That's how business grows over and over and over and over again.
So with that being said, you're going to have some employees that come in and they do the minimum amount of work and they don't want to learn. They don't want to do anything else. They're not an A player, right? Then you have your A
Absolutely.
players that'll go and say, give me the shot, give me the ball, right? Put me in.
Absolutely.
I can do this. Let's go. And everybody's motivated differently, right? So let's say you have a team full of you have a couple superstars, right? And then everybody else is kind of like that B, C player, right? What's your recommendation to the company?
So the first thing I always do, and they're going to be employees like that, right? In my past life, which is 18 months ago, before I went through my awakening that was painful and difficult,
Oh, did you have a
I would
midlife
say,
crisis?
oh man, I think I've had 15 midlife crises. I've been a business owner since I'm 20, right? I mean, how many midlife crises can one person have? But
Well,
it's hard
there's a
because
couple solutions.
you've
Okay,
got
there's
those
a couple
different levels
solutions
of.
I don't recommend.
I'll stay far away from those ones. I'm not even going to touch that one. But you're right. I mean, Matt, you do have those different levels of people. And my question is never my question always starts with where are they now? Let's meet them where they are. And if they don't want to grow, if they don't want to move, and it still fits within your construct, within your environment, great. Let them own that. Let them be that C grade person that just sits there and does their thing and does their job day after day after day after day after day. We need those people, right? But the thing that I found is no matter what generation of people we work with, and let me be really blunt, that's part of the problem that we're dealing with in the workforce now is we have over 5 generations of different employees that we're dealing with that all approach things in different ways. But if we can take those B-level people and say, okay, do you want to stay here? Yeah, I want to stay here. I don't want to be more than what I am. Okay, what does that mean? How can you be the best B-level person that you can be? They still want that. They still strive for that. Now, it may come across differently. Listen, I'm Generation X, right? Now, I come from the best generation because we have the best name. I mean, come on, Generation X. That's just cool, right? We have the best music. We have the best food. We have the best movie. We have all the best, right? But think about it. And Luigi, you're going to get this because I know your age because we've talked about it, right? We're in the same demo here. But when we were teenagers, what did we do? Well, we sat in our room in our flannel shirts, listening to Nirvana, dealing with our feelings. Well, millennials, Generation Y,
Hey,
Generation
Jorge,
Z, what
feel
do?
free to
They
play
talk
some
about it on
background
Twitter.
music, like some Twisted Sister right now. I think it'll fit the mood.
I don't have a problem with that. Fire it up. Do whatever you need to do. But like today, it's different. Instead of them doing that and dealing with their feelings that way, they go talk about it on TikTok or they talk about it, wherever they're going to talk about. The core issues are the same for all of us today that they were for our generations, for our parents' generations, even beyond that. The way it shows up is totally different. And I have this overwhelming drive and belief that as leaders, we can either let that be the thing that stops us from being great, or we can recognize that that's what it is. And our greatness is going to come from our ability to help others achieve their greatness in whatever space that looks like. So you talked about BC people. My question is, why are they not AB people? And can we develop a path for them to become that? And if we can't, that's okay. But we're going to give them an opportunity to do that if they want it.
And maybe the leap is not so profound. Maybe it's from B to B plus.
Absolutely.
Right?
And that's what it is. It's incremental. It's small steps, little things.
Now, another question that's important for the small business audience is how do you assist a founder in interdivision communications, right? Because you may have sales, and then you may have back office, or you may have underwriting, or you may have production. And sometimes if you're not aligned in those visions, things can kind of get a little wonky.
Ooh, that's the $1 million question. I spent a vast majority of my career trying to get people to comply to my vision, get aligned with my vision, right? And it's the same thing with different departments. Communication is the lifeblood, right? I mean, we can talk all we want about making sure you have clients. It's critical, it's important. But if you don't have communication, it doesn't matter how many clients you bring in, they're going to have a bad experience. You have to have clear, consistent, transparent communication. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. I'm working with a company right now that builds countertops, right? And they've got a group of about 60 employees through fabrication, sales, installation, and they just haven't talked well with each other because they all do different things. So we created an entirely new, basically a task group of each members at each different level within that company that come together, and weekly they have a roundtable and they just sit. Nobody's in charge. There's nobody at the head of the table. They talk about what's important. They talk about the challenges that they're having. And the way that we accomplish that is the owners, two owners in the company, they started that by saying, here's where I'm struggling right now. Here's where I failed. Here's where I made a mistake. Here's what I learned from that. Now I'm opening the door for all of us to be able to have that conversation. Where are your failures? Where are you struggling? What do you need help with? How do we get better? And fostering that kind of communication interdepartmentally always starts at the top and is critical for departments to be able to communicate with each other. And if you can't do that internally, you're never going to be able to do it externally anyway.
Now, how do you execute that? Are these meetings? Are these, I don't know, they're like Slack channels? Are they?
Yeah. So love technology, use technology in every single way that you can effectively, right? Pinpoint is, we are huge believers in AI and in AI empowering employees, not replacing employees. But yeah, we use technology for it. Here's our philosophy. It's very simple. Daily contact with everybody that you need to have interaction with, whether it's interdepartmentally or people that work for you. You need to have some kind of daily interaction. That can be a text, that can be a Slack message, that can be a direct message, it can be a face-to-face conversation, it can be a phone call, right? That happens every single day. Once a week, we have some kind of reset as a team. Now, I'm not a huge fan of sitting down and having long meetings, but a 15-minute reset that has an agenda, that has a desired outcome and a way to hit that outcome, we do that. And then once a month, a more in-depth deep dive. Feels like a lot for a lot of my business owners that I work with. But I'll tell you, the time that they spend doing that buys them dozens of hours on the other side of it every single time.
Well, I think it's a necessary evil. Even if you get pushback, you have to understand we're in the business of people, whether you're manufacturing or selling, it's interpersonal relations, right? So you have to
all
be
relationships.
So you have to tend to that. Hey,
Yeah.
Another thing that Matt and I are really keen on when we work with our clientele is metrics. If you can't measure something, you can't improve it, right? If I did 25 jumping jacks, well, tomorrow I want to do 28. But I haven't counted 25. I don't know if it's 28. I just stop when I'm tired.
Right.
Are there pitfalls to data analytics? Does reliance on data go too far?
Absolutely. So this is what I tell my client. I'm the same way. KPIs are one of the first things we do when we walk into a company. What are your KPIs? And when they look at me, if they look at me like, what are you talking about? I know we've got work to do, right? but you're right. You cannot improve what you can measure. But here's the thing. Data should never, ever dictate what we should do. It should always inform, always inform us, but never dictate, right? It should be one of the key ingredients to what we're trying to build, but it can't be the only ingredient.
So Josh, it seems like you've got the world at your fingertips. You've got everything figured out. You're like this mad genius out in Utah, the Sea of Tranquility, running Pinpoint Management. But how did Mr. Hoecherl become such a savvy consultant? Give us the origin story.
Made 4 million mistakes.
On planet Krypton?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still making them every single day, right? Like, I went through a major leadership change within my own business 6 months ago. And I want to be able to say it's because of someone else, but it was because of my lack of leadership. I mean, that's what led to it. I missed the signs because I was so worried about making sure that operations were happening the way they were, sales were happening the way that they needed to, looking at that data over and over again, that I missed the relationship side of some critical relationships within my business. And it led to some real pain and some real challenges. So thank you for talking about how savvy I am, but I think I'm more like just I'm not savvy yet, right? I've still got a little
You're a
ways.
work in progress.
I'm a work in progress. And who isn't, right?
Well, what doesn't let's assess Pinpoint. What doesn't work at Pinpoint that we could optimize?
Oh man, so many things, right? Like we're trying to level ourselves up when it comes to how we relate to our clients, right? Here's the reality. We went through the same thing that every consulting company went through in COVID, where pre-COVID, we spent a lot of times face to face in the office with our clients. Well, guess what? COVID, we couldn't do that. So we had a choice. Either we move everything to technology, Zoom, whatever we're going to use, or we lose client. Those were our two choices, right? We decided to go hardcore into the technology thing and do everything by Zoom. In fact, we're to the point where we would meet with none of our clients on site, except for in a few unique situations. And that was a massive change for us. But guess what else that does? That makes the building of the relationship a little bit harder, because when you show up at a client's office or a client shows up at your office, inevitably you're going to spend 15, 20 minutes just shooting the breeze, hanging out, talking, building that relationship. When you're on Zoom, for whatever reason, people don't want to do that. It's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. I don't want to spend more than 45 minutes here. I want to go to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So we have had to find more creative ways, and we're still trying to find more creative ways to deepen the relationships with our clients, because that's how it all works. Just like you said, it's all built on relationships. And so that's something that we need to improve. We need to improve, how do we communicate with our clients? How do we relate to our clients? How do we understand our clients without being pandering, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy who every 3 months sends someone some piece of swag that's got my logo on it and think, well, I'm taking care of my clients, right? What do they do with that? They do the same thing that I do with it. They stick it in a corner of the office until it gets dusty, and then they give it to their kids to do something with, right? So, so I don't want to be that. I want to be someone who really, truly. Here's the foundational principle that I believe in, that we haven't nailed yet at Pinpoint. I believe business owners and key business leaders spend a huge amount of time standing on the peak of the mountain all by themselves. And I know that because I've done that. I've stood on that mountain by myself. It's painful. It's difficult. The wind is cold up there. The rain hits hard. I don't want to replace anyone in doing that, but I want every single one of my clients to know that there's somebody standing there next to them. Somebody gets it, right?
So
Somebody understands what it.
You're like the American business Sherpa.
I like that.
So,
I'll take that.
so what are
Sherpas,
some
man, those
things
guys
that,
are tough.
so what are some things that you and your team came up with to try to implement for this?
Yeah, so some of the things that we've done is we've increased the level of communication outside of meetings, right? So the way our system is designed is we have a weekly 30 to 45-minute Zoom call with a client. We've actually set aside time and lessened the client load for our strategists from managing 30 clients down to about 20 clients, so that in between meetings, they can send that quick text. They can make that quick phone call. They can go, we use Voxer. So our Voxer account is humming. Like, we are sending messages to our clients all the time. And sometimes it's something as simple as, hey, in our last meeting, we were talking about this. I came across this article on the Harvard Business Review. Take a look at it. Let's talk about it in our next meeting. Sometimes it's just, hey, how'd your daughter's basketball game go? I know you mentioned that you were on your way to that. How did that go? And again, I want my strategists and my team to do that, not from the perspective of I'm getting something out of this, but what am I putting into this, right? How am I developing and deepening this relationship? One of the other things we do, Matt, that's really important to us is we do an audit at 90 days. And at that 90-day engagement, if there's not the level of relationship from the client's perspective and the strategist's perspectives that they are standing on that mountain together, we talk about making a shift. Well, maybe a different strategist would be better for you. How do we make that change so that you get the partner that you need to get where you want to go?
So Josh, I'm sorry, Matt, please go ahead, buddy.
No worries. Your background came from big consulting, right? You came out of school. And what about the strategists that work for you? What backgrounds are they from? Are they still following the same path that you took? Are you taking people and training them from the ground up these days? How's it work?
So both. I look for two things when I look to bring a strategist in. We look first for, how are they with relationships, right? Are they empathetic leaders? Are they looking for ways to empathize with people? Are they looking for ways to control people, right? That's one of the key metrics. The other one that I look for is, what is their experience in building a business? Now, here's the thing. I'm not necessarily looking for someone who's built a really successful business, because there's definitely value in that. But I also am looking for people who have maybe failed in business one or two times. I've done that. right? Like I've started businesses that haven't made it. I've learned more from that than I ever did from the ones that really made it successfully, right? So I'm looking for people who have success and failure from an operational perspective. And I want to see how they dealt with that, because if they know how to deal with that, they're going to know that they're not going to know the question. They're not going to know the answers, but they're going to know the questions that they need to ask my clients. Frankly, for us, that's the foundational thing for us is we never walk into engagement saying, I have the answers. We walk into an engagement saying, I know what questions to ask, and together we'll find the answers.
Nice.
Is there a typical time horizon when you're dealing with clients where you can assess, look, this is a 9-month project. We're going to be strategically precise in and out. Or is this, look, we're going to work with you forever?
Yeah. So typically the way we present our programs to people is we want a 4-month commitment out of you.
Okay.
Here's why we say 4 months. Typically within 4 months, we've offended each other enough to know where we can go from here, right? I mean, we've had the tough conversations, which we're not afraid to have, and we want to encourage them to have the tough conversations back with us. We want them to tell us where we are in the process with them, right? So typically we say, we want you to give us 4 months. Now, the lifespan of a customer, our average customer actually sticks with us for more than 18 months. I've got clients that have worked with me personally for more than 5 years. We've been through multiple cycles I've actually had clients that have sold businesses, started new businesses, and we've stayed engaged with them throughout that whole process. So typically what we find is we say, give us 4 months. Let's identify what's really going on. Put 1 or 2 things in place that can really make a change. And then you tell us if we need to do more work. And typically they tell us, yeah, we've got more to do. Let's keep working together.
Yeah, I like that. And what winds up happening, I'm assuming, for the clients that stick with you, and most people don't realize that exit planning is just good business strategy, right?
Oh,
so when
for
they're
sure.
working with you, they're increasing their operational efficiencies. So if somebody does come knocking, they're already prepared to sell the business when they want to.
That's exactly right. One of the first things we do, like one of our pillars is scalability and efficiency. And that's exciting for business owners to hear, because they think, oh, scalability, efficiency, that's great. But foundation for that for us is, what does the exit look like? An exit can be anything, right?
Mhm.
We start talking about that right away. I just had a meeting with a client this week who is a 3rd-generation business owner of a glass company. And one of the first conversations I had with him is, I said, look, how are you getting out? What's your next step? He's like, well, my son's really young. I'm like, no, hold on. First off, your son's really young. You don't know if he wants to do this for the rest of his life. We have to build something right now. So if the time comes, if the opportunity's there, you can walk out this door knowing that you've done everything that you need to do to make this company viable and successful. And that was painful and it was difficult, especially generational owners. They have a hard time with that. But it changed the dynamic of his business to where he wasn't the sole man in the middle of the machine keeping things going. So Matt, I totally agree with you. If business owners aren't looking at it from the perspective of the value of my business is derived by my ability to not be a part of it, they're missing the boat big time.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary too, because 80% of a business owner's assets are tied up in the business. And if it's illiquid, when you go to market and you haven't taken these steps, only 20% of businesses listed sell. Most people don't realize that.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Yeah.
You know, Josh, I've been thinking about this subject a lot lately. My partner Matthew became a SEPA, so big round of applause for being a certified exit planner.
Awesome.
But it's an essential tool for business owners. So I came up with the following analogy recently. If you've ever raced a car or raced a sailboat, you realize that car or sailboat is going to be in its optimal shape when you're racing it. All cylinders are going to be humming. That oil is going to be brand new. The sail trims are going to be perfect. That tiller is going to be loose. So the exit strategy exercise primes that business. And then so what? Keep it primed forever. If you want to die in your corner office, go for it. But get it ready to be primed.
That's exactly right. I mean, how many times the boat analogy is absolutely perfect, right? Because how many of us have run businesses where our entire focus when we're in that boat is bailing the boat because there's 17 holes in it, right? Instead of taking the time to fix the holes, we just keep bailing, right? Let's just keep bailing. This is what works for us. We keep it going. And hey, as long as we're like this much above the waterline, we can still breathe, right? but you're never getting out of that thing. It's going to take you down at some point. Now, perfect world, we take the boat completely out of the water and fix all the holes, but that's not reality. How many people can do that? How
Exactly.
many people say, okay, I'm not going to work for 6 months. I'm just going to fix my business. Well, no, we can't do that. So you're right, Luigi. You've got to get to a point where you can fix those holes in that boat, repair the propeller, fix the steering, get it refueled, all while you're going 70 miles an hour across that lake. That's how it works.
But one thing to keep in mind is it's not all going to happen at once. It's going to
Right.
happen over time, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
and I think one of the biggest things that business owners struggle with is they get sold by people. I have this done in 3 months for you. I have it done in 6 months. They're not setting the table properly with proper expectations, right? I can fix something in my house when my wife tells me to do it, but it doesn't mean I did it right. Right? Instead of waiting for somebody to come and do it, I ghetto fixed it. It needed a nail. I put some gum on there and slapped it on the wall, right?
It looks good. Let's move on.
But it's going to come back down again, right?
Always.
Josh, I'm sorry. For New Yorkers such as Matt and I, ghetto fixing is in the glossary. Sorry.
No, you're good. I love it. Hey, I can't tell you how many business owners I've worked with who ghetto fixing is their entire life. That's all they do. Every day, all day.
I was born with a father who had a silicone gun. He thought he could fix everything with silicone.
Silicone gun or duct tape. What else do you need, right?
Listen, growing up, we didn't have much, right? And we would rent apartments, and there would be holes in the wall. We didn't fix the holes in the wall. We just slapped a picture right over it.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So that is that's something, you can hide it for a while, but eventually it's going to be seen, that hole, right?
It always comes out.
It's going to cause you more damage later on if it's not fixed.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Josh, I feel like you've given us a consulting masterclass over the last half hour. We are indebted to you. Thank you so very much. Can you please tell the audience where they could find you and Pinpoint when they are looking to engage you right after this podcast?
Absolutely. Easiest way to do it is just to go to our website. It's ppmanagement.com. From there, you can get to our social channels. You can get to webinars that we have. Everything that we've got out there. We're just introducing a thing we're pretty excited about how to assess yourself as a leader. It's something that you can use with all of your employees internally. That'll be a part of our website in the next week or so. So stay tuned for that and come check us out. Let's talk and let's see where we are. I guarantee you, I'm never going to tell you I can fix your business in 4 months. But I'm going to tell you we can make some change in 4 months. And unfortunately, there's no silver bullets, but we'll find 7 or 8 regular lead bullets that'll work just as well.
Josh, thank you so much for being here, man. We really do appreciate it. We want to be respectful of your time. I got a question for you, right? Yeah. What do you see most people coming to you for? What do they believe their biggest problem is that they struggle with?
Most people believe that their biggest problem is, for me right now, it's one of two things. And I apologize for giving you two things, but it's just split right down the middle. The first one is my employees suck.
That's okay? Everybody says
hear that all the time, right? Everybody says that. Second one is I don't have enough business. Get me more business, right? It's those two things. Here's the problem. Those are actually the same thing, right? Just different. They're different symptoms to the same disease. So we got to solve the disease in American business right now because it's bad, and we've got to find a way to empower leaders, to get leaders to be more performative, to get them up to a better speed. And anybody who comes to me that says my employees suck, I typically say to them, well, with all those employees, there's one common denominator, and that common denominator is you. So let's take a look at what you're doing and see if we can find a way to fix it.
Josh, thank you so much. Everybody, that's a wrap of the Liquid Lunch Project. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Let's go!